I've got Peter Matthews with me from the UK. Now, we spoke a couple of minutes ago to Richard Leadbeater, and he's one of your fellow church planters in the UK.
Yeah, it's a very similar context to where I am actually. He basically his church, I think of as us, but 2 years ahead.
Right. Yep.
So we're watching what he does and learn from his mistakes.
Yep.
And hopefully what they've done well and do something very similar. So I'm in Windsor, so I've got the castle and the Queen. And trying to do something very similar to reach a town with no Bible teaching ministry at all.
What's it like having Her Majesty in the parish?
She's not responded to our invites to Christmas services yet, but although she only likes 10-minute sermons, so I'm not sure she'd love us particularly, is what I've heard.
Whereas you're doing exegetical preaching and systematic and all that.
Yeah, very much so, very much so. Take a book of the Bible, preach it through sequentially and see what it says. I can't quite do that in 10 minutes.
Right.
But I can try.
Good on you.
Yeah.
Now, what did you think? What have your thoughts so far? Actually, we'll do overview, and then we'll do the session we've just had. Overview first.
Yeah. So I love Gafcon.
Yep.
I was actually ordained in Kenya.
You one of those guys.
Yeah, I was one of those guys.
Good on you.
So by Archbishop Wabukala when he was the chair of the primates,
Yep.
and so I have a deep love and have benefited massively from Gafcon generally. So I went 5 years ago, and so I was so excited about coming here.
Hey, I've just realised we have such a high turnover in audience, and I just said, what are those guys? As if everybody knew what I was talking about. What am I talking about? What are we talking about when we say you are? Why are you, a Church of England minister, ordained by somebody overseas? That doesn't...
Yeah, okay. So the Church of England, as I suspect many people are aware, if they'll be watching Gafcon, they'll have some clue, has given up on biblical authority, is the big issue. And so I left Theological College 10 years ago to go and work as a curacy in a church plant in Balham, which is South London, in Southwark Diocese, which is one of the most liberal dioceses in the UK. And the bishop wouldn't ordain me, they wouldn't recognise the church.
So you'd been to, what theological college did you get a degree at?
I went to Oak Hill. I was a London ordinand, so I was sponsored by the Church of England to go get trained for 3 years at Theological College.
And why wouldn't they ordain you?
Well, there was a discussion actually when I was at college to come out that they would, but the Commission group of churches, so Richard Cokin, who was speaking this morning, is the director of that.
Who is a great Bible teacher.
He is a great Bible teacher. I'm not sure he's a great singer, if you were watching this morning.
No. I'll tell you what I think. The organising committee of Gafcon, here is us, we're way down the pecking order, but those guys right at the top, whoever made the decision to put the Africans in charge of the music and not Richard Cokin, that was a good decision.
Probably not a hard one, but a good one. So when I came out, there was the local area, so Richard made a stand for biblical authority in Southwark Diocese, and so they were out of communion. Temporarily impaired communion is what they called it. So I came out to this context expecting that. We explored for ways for me to be ordained within the Church of England, but 3 years after being a curate, it wasn't happening, and the Gafcon primates, who were aware of our situation, said, look, we'll do something, and Archbishop Wabukala was the chair, and said, look, I'll take the stand. And we went for an ordination in Garissa, which is a dusty desert town near the Somalia border. 3 of us flew out, with Richard Cokin actually, for the weekend to get ordained, to go back to be a Kenyan missionary working in Southwark in London to reach the gospel there. And then since then, that was my deaconing, and my presbyteral ordination, my priesting was in the Church of England, Guildford, when I moved to my next job. So I have got a Church of England.
So you've now been recognised by the Church of England in a way that they weren't recognising you before?
For a while. So I've had 10 years of full-time ministry since college. I've had 2.5 years of having a licence from the Church of England. I then left that job and I'm now running the church in Windsor, which I've been given what's called PTO, which is permission to officiate, which they basically give to retired clergy.
Yeah.
My church isn't recognised at all. They're working on what's called a Bishop's Mission Order, a BMO, but they keep pushing it in the long grass. We'll keep talking about it. So my church exists in someone else's parish, which isn't Bible teaching, has given up on the Bible. And so we've got no recognition of that from the Church of England, but I've just got a licence, which is helpful, because I can go to local schools and say, hi, I'm an authorised CRV minister, can I do work here? And that's been brilliant. I have had that opportunity. But it's the Church of England itself is verbally, oh, very nice, lovely to have you, but won't do anything. There's no action.
Now, Archbishop Stanley, this morning, what did you make of all that?
Oh, it's just amazing to say, look, we're going to stand firm and not succumb, and we recognise what's truth, and we can't coexist, as Nicholas Oko was saying yesterday. You can't walk together and say, oh, it's all lovely, when actually that's pluralism. He's like, we can't say that's black and that's white and think that's the same. That's ridiculous. So them to say, we're standing with brothers who are faithful to the gospel, ACNA thing, that was a wonderful moment to say, we're not going back in until they recognise these guys are true Anglicans. And also the message of the week, actually, very much, we're not going anywhere. This is authorised Orthodox historic Anglicanism, and the revisionists are the schismatics, because they've left the faith in that sense, and that's been really encouraging. So keep going, tell the gospel in your context.
How's your prayer group? Tell us about the little Bible group that you're meeting with. Yeah.
So genuinely, that's when we heard about that a few weeks ago. I was so thrilled, because one of the highlights from 5 years ago was they're sitting at dinner at lunchtimes and with a Brazilian, a Nigerian, an Aussie, and just finding about context and knowing we were kind of forced to sit with these guys and pray with them has been wonderful. So I got a Nigerian bishop and a Rwandan bishop. Sadly, I've got 2 guys I already knew from England, but that's all right, I'll forgive that. But to hear their context and standing firm, and the guy in Nigeria knowing the persecution they're going to face, is such an encouragement. And then to have them pray for us to stand firm is like, yeah, what are we facing? We just need to be willing to stand up and say Jesus is the King, and not worry about the context. And Kokin's line this morning of, and I'd not heard it before, of being in the West, we're being chameleons. We want to hide in the culture, camouflage ourselves so we don't face the opposition. That's amazing to say, actually, no, we don't want to be chameleons. We want to be a beacon to light for the gospel. So these guys are really encouraging.
Great.
So I'm loving that.
Thanks very much for talking to us, and we'll let you go and get on the bus.
Thank you. Cheers.
You're watching the live stream from Gafcon